welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are stepping away from our usual reality, and honestly, thank goodness for that, and dropping right into the middle of the secret war. I want you to picture this with me for a second. You are deep behind enemy lines.
Okay.
Maybe you're in a damp, freezing vault. You're bound by a web of Black Sun sorcery, looking for some artifact that shouldn't exist.
Or you're facing down a horde of servitors, these things that used to be human, and they're just twitching in a way that isn't right.
Exactly. The odds are impossible. The stakes are the literal fate of the world. And the only thing standing between you and the full horror of the Cthulhu mythos are, well, two 20-sided dice.
It is a high-pressure scenario, absolutely by design. And what's interesting about our stack of sources today is that we aren't just looking at the lore of Achtung Cthulhu, which is, terrifying in its own right.
Oh, for sure.
But specifically the engine that drives it. We're looking at the 2020 system.
Right. And usually we get caught up in the flavor, the tentacled monsters and the Nazi villains. But our mission for this deep dive is to strip all that away for just a moment.
Look under the hood.
Exactly. Look at the machine. We've pulled from a massive stack of manuals here. The player's guide, game master's guide, the quick start rules.
Even some of the mission dossier, like Assault on the Führer train.
Yeah. The goal is simple. How do you actually play this game? Because in a normal story, the narrator decides what happens. But here,
as the text so poignantly puts it, the dice reign where the game master does not.
I love that line.
It's the core concept. The 2020 system is designed to resolve drama. You have a game master, the GM, who sets the scene. They tell you about the rain on the cobblestones, the sound of chanting. But when you try to do something...
When I try to shoot the gun or jump the ravine...
That's when authority transfers to the dice.
And what I found really gripping is that there's this economy to the game. It's not just roll and see. You're constantly making deals.
Deals, that's a good way to put it.
You can buy success, but the currency you're paying with, it often helps the bad guys.
That is the friction point of the whole system. It's built on risk and reward. It constantly asks you, how badly do you want this?
Okay, but before we get into that economy, we have to understand the basic transaction, the nuts and bolts.
Right. Let's start at the beginning.
So if I'm a player, I'm looking at my character sheet, lots of numbers. Where do I start?
You're primarily looking at two things, attributes and skills. The Quick Start rules break this down really clearly. Your attributes are your innate abilities. Agility, brawn, insight, that sort of thing. They range from 6 to 12.
And 8 is average.
8 is your average human.
Okay, so if I've got like a 10 or 11 in brawn, I'm pretty exceptional. I'm the one kicking down doors.
Exactly. You're naturally gifted.
Yeah.
Then you have skills, which is your training. Fighting, stealth, academia. Those are rated from 0 to 5.
And I'm guessing a 5 is like unheard of.
A 5 is world class. You're the Einstein of physics, the Bruce Lee of fighting. Now, here's where it gets different. You don't roll a die and add a number.
No.
You combine an attribute and a skill to create a target number.
Okay, let's walk through that. If I'm trying to punch a guard, I'd use my agility. Let's say that's a 9.
Okay, pretty nimble.
And my fighting skill is a 3. So
Right.
9 plus 3. My target number is 12.
Correct. And this is where the system gets its name. You take two 20-sided dice, your 2d20, and you roll them. The goal is to roll equal to or less than that target number.
See, that's the mental flip right there.
Yeah.
In most games, you want big numbers. You want to see that 20.
Right.
Here, if my target is 12, I want to see a 1, a 2, a 10. I want to roll low.
You want to roll low. Each die that rolls under or equal to that target is one success. The GM sets the difficulty for the task, which is just how many successes you need.
So if it's a difficulty of 1, like climbing a simple fence, I just need one of my 2 dice to come up 12 or less.
That's it, which statistically you have a pretty good shot at. But it's not just about pass-fail. The Assault on the Führer train dossier had this great example of a hero diving for cover behind a sofa while being shot at.
Classic. I can picture it now. Submachine guns rattling, stuffing flying everywhere.
So the player rolls their dice. And in the example, they roll high a 13 and a 15. Both are over the target number of 12.
So total failure.
A complete failure. The text says the hero feels those slugs penetrating his flesh. It's visceral. But if they roll low, say a 3 and a 10...
Both successes.
Both successes. The narrative flips. Now the bullets whistle by his cheek or clang off the sofa's metal frame. The dice didn't just say, you pass. They told you how you survived.
It's a storytelling prompt, not just a number. I like that. What if I'm worried I won't make it? Can I get help? The rules mentioned assistance.
Yes, you can. If another character can logically help you, they roll 1d20 using their own stats. If they succeed, they add a success to your total.
That forces teamwork. I love that. It stops everyone from just staring at their phone until it's their turn.
It builds cohesion. But let's go back to that success idea, because this is where the system really opens up. What happens if you roll too well?
What do you mean?
Say the difficulty was 1, but you rolled 2 successes. Or 3, or 4. What happens to the extra ones?
In a lot of games, nothing. They're just wasted. You passed. Move on.
Not here. In the 2020 system, that excess success becomes currency. It becomes momentum.
Momentum. That word was everywhere in the manuals. It seems like it's the fuel for everything cool.
It is the central economic engine for the players. You generate more successes than you need, and that extra energy gets banked.
Banked where?
You can use it immediately on that action, or, and this is key, you can put it in a communal pool for the whole team to use later.
Wait. So if I do something awesome and get 3 momentum, I can bank it, and then you can use it on your turn.
Precisely. It represents the squad getting into a rhythm. It's that moment in an action movie where the team is just clicking.
Okay, so what am I spending this on? I've got this banked momentum. I'm the hero. I've dived behind the sofa. I rolled great. What can I actually buy?
The main thing is buying dice. You start with 2d20, but for 1 momentum per die, you can buy up to 3 more dice, maxing out your pool at 5 dice for 1 roll.
That's a massive shift in the odds. Going from 2 dice to 5, you're almost guaranteed to succeed.
It drastically increases your reliability, yeah. You can also spend momentum for bonus damage to add real punch to an attack.
Huh?
Or, and I love this for investigations, you can spend it for obtaining information.
How does that work? Does the GM just tell you the answer?
Not exactly. You spend momentum to ask the GM a specific question. Is there a hidden compartment in this desk? Or which one of these guards looks the most nervous?
So you can literally buy clues with your own competence.
Yeah.
That solves the old, we're stuck because we missed 1 roll problem.
Exactly. And then there's escalation. This is the narrative one. Pushing home an advantage. It's the difference between just hiding behind the sofa and using that successful dive to immediately pop up, guns blazing.
Or finding a conveniently placed back door to escape through.
It's player agency shaping the environment. But, and here is where the other shoe drops, this economy has a counterweight.
The bad news.
The game master's currency. It's called threat.
Threat is such a perfect name. So just like we have a pool of momentum, the GM has a pool of threat to do. Well, bad guy stuff.
Villainous stuff, yes.
Yeah.
And the Game Master's Guide makes it clear threat is often generated by the players.
This is the part that blew my mind. I can actually give the GM ammo to use against me.
You can, and often you have to. Let's say you're defusing a bomb, seconds on the clock. The team has no momentum in the bank, but you need extra dice.
I can't pay with momentum because the pool is empty, so I pay with.
You pay by adding threat to the GM's pool. 1 point of threat per die you buy.
So I'm effectively saying, I need to succeed right now so badly that I'm willing to let something terrible happen later.
That's the bargain. You're mortgaging your future safety.
Right.
And there's more. Remember, rolling low is good.
Yeah.
If you roll a natural 20, that's a complication.
You can't do it,
Right. Your gun jams, you twist your ankle, something goes wrong.
Uh-huh.
But you can buy off that complication
No.
by giving the GM 2 threat.
No, don't jam a gun. Here, take these 2 threat points instead. And the GM's just sitting there smiling, stacking up these red tokens. What do they do with them?
Horrible things. The most direct use is reinforcements. The GM can spend threat to have enemies just show up.
Out of nowhere.
Out of the ether, as the book says. A minor NPC costs 1 threat. A notable one costs 2. A major villain, 3.
So the decision I made 3 turns ago to buy a die to pick a lock, it just turned into a Nazi scorn trooper kicking in the door.
It creates a direct causal link. They can also use threat for environmental effects, triggering a rock slide, plunging the room into darkness.
It makes the world itself feel hostile.
And NPCs use threat just like players use momentum. A villain doesn't have a momentum pool, so if they want to buy extra dice to shoot at you, the GM spends threat.
So it's this loop. The harder we push, the more we try to be heroes, the more ammo we're literally handing the GM to throw back at us.
It forces constant strategic choices. Is this action worth the potential retaliation? It perfectly reinforces the theme of the Secret War. You're fighting an overwhelming force and your own exertion can feed it.
Okay, so the threat is spent. The patrol shows up. Bullets are flying. What happens when we get hurt? The term I saw was stress.
Right. Stress isn't just anxiety. It's the total physical and mental punishment a character can take. It's your health bar, essentially.
And damage uses those weird dice, right? The challenge dice?
Yeah, they're custom, six-sided, but the faces are 1, 2, 2 zeros, and 2 effect symbols.
So a 1 is 1 damage, a 2 is 2. Zeros are a miss, but the effect symbol...
The effect symbol is where weapon flavor comes in. It's usually 1 damage, but it also triggers special qualities. If your rifle has piercing, an effect symbol lets the shot ignore armor.
So it's not just I hit for 5, it's I hit for 3, and the armor-piercing round shreds your vest.
Exactly. And your own attributes matter here too. A high strength or will gives you automatic bonus damage on attacks.
And the rules made a big deal about willpower for courage resistance.
Which is vital in a Cthulhu game. You're not just dodging bullets, you're resisting sheer terror. Will adds to your mental stress capacity.
Because seeing a monster isn't just scary, it can literally break your mind.
Yes. You take mental stress, just like physical stress.
Yeah.
Too much and you're incapacitated.
We've covered the math, the dice, the pools, but the sources also mention some mechanics that feel more narrative, things beyond the math.
Right, like fortune, truths, and talents. These are the mechanics that let the story override the dice.
Let's start with fortune. Who doesn't want a little fortune in a war zone?
Fortune points are very limited. You might get 1 a session. Spending a fortune point lets you take a die before you roll it and just set it to 1.
Whoa. Okay. And a 1 is basically a critical success.
It counts as 2 successes automatically. No risk. It's the Hail Mary play when failure is not an option.
I have to make this jump or we all die. Boom. Fortune point. I stick the landing.
Exactly. Then there are truths. This concept was really unique.
Yeah, it sounds philosophical.
It's a mechanical term. A truth is a defined fact about the scene. For example, the room is dark is a truth. Or, I'm a veteran of the Great War.
It's a tag on the scene. That makes sense.
But here's the connection to the economy. The GM can spend threat to change a truth.
The GM can alter reality.
They can alter the narrative circumstances. Say you're fighting on a bridge, the GM spends 2 threat and declares a new truth. The bridge is collapsing, and now it is.
That's wild. It's not just I attack, you attack. It's I attack, the bridge falls down, now we're all scrambling.
Precisely. It keeps things cinematic. And finally, you have focuses and talents, which are basically your character customization.
Right, fleshing out who you are.
A focus is an area of expertise, like sight, that can improve your critical hits. Talents are special abilities, almost like feats, that grant bonus dice or unique advantages.
So if I step back and look at the whole picture, we've got this engine where you build a target number, you roll under it, you get momentum if you do well.
But you risk generating threat if you get desperate.
Right.
And that means the rules exist, as the text says, to resolve the drama of a story. It's not a simulation of physics, it's a simulation of tension.
It's not just I shoot the monster. It's I shoot the monster, but I really need to hit, so I buy 2 dice, which gives the GM 2 threat, which he immediately spends to have the ceiling collapse.
And that outcome, the ceiling collapsing, came directly from your desperation. That is the beauty of the 2020 system. The story emerges from the risks you're willing to take.
It really does capture that pulp adventure vibe where things just keep escalating. The heroes get cooler, but the villains get more resources.
It fits the theme of Achtung Cthulhu perfectly. Heroic actions are possible, that's momentum. But the enemy is always gathering strength, that's threat. The system makes you feel that pressure.
You know, usually we wrap up with a summary, but I think the summary just is the loop. Roll under your skill. Bank momentum if you're hot. Beware of giving the GM threat if you push too hard.
That's the essence of it. But I would leave the listener with this one thought. We often treat game rules as neutral physics, you know? But the 2020 system puts a moral weight on the mechanics.
A moral weight? How so?
Well, think about it. In a game where your own desperate need for success gives the villain the actual resources to summon reinforcements, how much are you willing to sacrifice just to survive this round?
Wow.
Is hitting that target worth giving the GM the power to bring in a major NPC? You aren't just playing against the board, you're negotiating with the narrative cost of your own survival.
That is actually kind of haunting. Puts the responsibility on you. If the big bad guy shows up, it's partly because I wanted to be a hero 2 minutes ago.
It raises the stakes significantly.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for our listeners to check their gear. Buckle up, pack your trustiest revolver, and prepare for action.
Indeed. Good luck out there.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you in the next one.